Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So today, I got my man Dr. Pete here. If you guys know that you guys have been following along, I've been doing a lot of heavy training lately as a prepare for Olympia. But I would not have been able to do any of this without having my man Dr. Pete in my corner. He is my physical therapist. He handles all my grafting, all my cupping, all my stretching. And I've been doing this now for the past couple years. Now, I noticed in 2017 that once I started taking care of my body a lot more, that's when my body progressed a lot more, and I was able to train a lot harder and heavier. So again, Dr. Pete is here. He's going to talk about what he's been doing me the past couple of years, and what we're preparing for this coming year, and what we're working on today.
Thanks, Sean. So, over the last couple of years with Sean, it's just about optimizing his performance. Winning Mr. Olympia last year, we constantly need to assess, to build, to perform, and to keep on bringing a bigger and better package each and every time. So with Sean, on a weekly basis, we do recovery, maintenance work, where we assess kind of where we're at. What's hurting, if there is anything, is there tightness, any restrictions, whether that's in his shoulders, his back, his legs, just so that things are moving properly. And we constantly assess so that, one, he's safe, one, he's keep on progressing, and three, he's just being a champion the way he has always been. And this is what we do to make him feel better and to keep on training at his highest performance. So thank you.
So okay guys, today we're working more on the posterior chain, a little bit of rear delts, a little bit of lats, lower back. So today's gonna be a fun day because my body is absolutely aching and I'm looking forward to it. So I hope you guys enjoy this. So let's get after it.
So right now what we're working on is working on the lat. Sean's been hitting the lat a lot, so it's very restricted. We noticed that impacts his overhead mobility, so we're restricting how well he can move overhead. And obviously with training, we want to get the lats to be bigger. So with training effect, it gets really tight. So we're loosening them up so they can be broader, they can be more full, and to be stretched out and lengthened so that, one, it mitigates any risk of injury, but allows him to show off those lats when he's posing versus being restricted, from all that heavy training. So in speaking about the lats, obviously they affect shoulder range of motion, so moving overhead, but they can also affect your lower back. A lot of people have compression in their lower back, and that could be because of their lats are over dominant. So that's constantly an area of focus because we've had some back issues in the past. So we're constantly making sure that we're addressing those things moving forward so that we're not in a spot where, okay, we're hurting and we're just keep on training and making that worse.
Certain exercises like chest press or anything with shoulder mobility has been a lot easier. I have some issues in the past with a little bit of tightness in my pecs or even my elbows, so getting something like this done on a regular basis definitely does help.
So right now we're doing some grafting work or scraping, or it's also called ISTM. So basically, it's just helping to break up fascial restrictions or tightness that's within the tissue layers. And again, that's just to help to improve upon blood flow to that tissue, to loosen any adhesions that are going on that are restricting, his mobility. And also too, just to help rejuvenation of the tissue. Again, just to kind of build new tissue growth and allow his muscles to perform the way they should be versus being restricted because of tightness or any, knots that he may be experiencing. So doing some myofascial cupping, basically just to decompress the tissue layers, obviously to create decompression in the lower back, so things that may be compressed because of muscles being so tight, like his paraspinals. It just helps to alleviate any discomfort that may be going on. And that just helps improve, again, blood flow to the tissue, so getting good blood flow in there helps the tissue to grow and be healthy along his training. So what I'm feeling is just kind of looking at the tissue pliability, so how soft the tissue is. So as you can feel, there's a lot of restriction through his paraspinals, or kind of the Christmas tree, you could say. So I like to really kind of get in there and get in there deep, because that can create a lot of compression on the spine. So if individuals have some disc pathology, or maybe they have a pinched nerve, sometimes that can be caused by the muscles being overactive or tight, and that puts a lot of compression on the spine and the nerves. So by doing this stuff kind of helps them to calm down and, again, take off the pressure off of the back. And like that's the number one thing. A lot of people have like low back issues, and they're like, it's my low back, and we realize, yeah, that's where you have your symptoms are, but that's not like what caused it. Your cause was somewhere maybe up here, somewhere in the hips that are not working efficiently. So that's why I say we constantly assess to figure out, okay, we're not chasing the pain, we're finding the root origin of it, to make sure that we're addressing it properly, and not for the short term, for the long term. With the cups, you can see like sometimes the tissue can change colors, where it could get like a deep, color of red. So that's basically just taking stagnant like blood within the tissues and drawing it to the surface to recirculate it. So the darker the discoloration, the more toxins that are within the body. And that happens, that's normal. That's something like with exercise, there's certain buildup and waste that builds up. So this just allows for good blood flow again to be recirculated throughout the body within the muscle. So you're getting good nutrients to that tissue. So again, for it to keep on, performing at its best, but also to grow and to be healthy. And that's the name of the game there. So some individuals have more discoloration than others. Shaun's not really has much discoloration at all because we do this on a regular basis, but there's sometimes where people are like a dark hue of purple, and that just shows me that, okay, there's more toxins within their tissues, and that's why sometimes they're experiencing more tightness or discomfort because it hasn't been addressed, and all they've been doing is training. Well, your muscles need some love outside of just exercise, and these are certain things that you should have done to you on a regular, to make sure that things are moving properly, things are not tight, and any risk for injury again. So
I mean, honestly, it took me a while to find someone. So I pretty much interviewed a bunch of people and kind of tested them out, and it just, if you don't again, you said it best, if you don't understand my sport, then you wouldn't understand my training or what I need. So, definitely took me a while to find, Pete and my massage guy, Big John. Again, they have to know my body, know what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, versus going to like a regular place that just kind of just touches your back, and that's pretty much it. So again, you have to have, again, like Pete said, you have to have someone who understands your body, your training, your sport, your activity. This way they know what's going on at any given time. I can tell Pete, hey, I'm feeling this. I'm feeling a little bit of pain in my shoulder. But like Pete said too, I might be feeling it in my shoulder, but it can be starting somewhere else. But again, we have that connection, or he understands my body well enough to know that I may have an issue with my shoulder, but it's definitely stemming from somewhere else. So it's very important.
So just doing a little like mild fascial release. So just a technique to kind of loosen up the fascial tissue, kind of grabbing into the kind of more of the proximal attachment where the lat goes into the shoulder, just to kind of loosen it up. It can restrict how the shoulder blade moves. So again, like if you're doing any overhead presses, sometimes you get the pinching in the front, and that could be because your shoulder blade's not working. So people are like, oh, well, I have the pain here. So they either like, do their own thing where they're kind of smashing it with a ball in the front, but like their pain never goes away. Well, again, it's assessing to see what's causing that thing. So this is a way of kind of looking at it. The lat's really tight through in here, restricting shoulder blade movement at times, which then can contribute to pain in front of the shoulder. So this is just a nice thing to kind of showcase, okay, the origin versus chasing where exactly, people are experiencing the pain, realizing, wow, I didn't realize that something over here is affecting somewhere else.
Before 2017, I never did any other stuff. But once I started doing it in 2017, again, that's when my training really progressed. Before that, I was, you get little aches and pains here and there. But again, since I started doing this, the way Pete kind of explained to me is like, it's pretty easy. You keep training hard, and eventually your muscle gets so tight that you're not allowing blood to get in to obviously recover and also get bigger. So because he goes in and breaks that up, and my muscle is able to do this the whole entire time, that's when we're able to get more blood flow into the muscle, create more growth, but most importantly, stay injury free. Because again, if you're beating the muscle up every single week, not getting any work done to it, it's just a big ball, and eventually it's gonna just give and cause an injury. So, but because my muscles are so relaxed, so open, there's a lot of blood flow going into the muscle. They're just training heavy with no issues, no discomfort, and just kind of just freely as I go. So again, if I haven't done any of this work, I highly doubt I'd still be training the way I do train.
Yeah, I think it's also like, it's prioritization, right? What you find value in. Like, your body is.
Like I said, you have one body.
Yeah.
You have one body. You got to show it love.
Yeah.
You know, especially when you're doing what we're doing. I mean, our bodies aren't meant to do this as far as bodybuilding, the heavy training, stuff like that. So again, I've always said that. Listen, I have one body. I'm gonna treat it. I mean, yeah, this can be taxing at times. It can be tiring. It can be expensive. It can be time consuming. But again, I've seen the benefit of it, and I wouldn't be able to do what I do without this. So
yeah. You're investing in yourself. That's the most important thing. Like you can't really put a price tag on your health. Like yeah, like you said, like it can be expensive at times, but there's only one of you, so it's like, why not feed your body and treat your body the way it should be, so that you can perform the way you want, and it's all about longevity. So be able to do whatever sport or activity for the long term, and not settle on a short career because maybe it was a little pricey at times, or maybe it was too far for me to travel. Again, it's just prioritization and what you find value in, and individuals who want to take it to the next level and want to keep on competing at their highest for the long term, they're doing those things, and that really sets the difference at times. So the reason why I don't start with this right off the bat is because obviously the tissue can be very dense or tight because of all the restrictions. This is a little bit more aggressive, so I like to get my hands in there to really figure out what's going on, to feel the tissue, feel exactly where the restrictions are, kind of like loosen it up with my hands first, and then I kind of get in there with a little bit more of aggressive tool, which is not as bad, but still can be very discomforting. Like Shaun's a champ. Like Shaun's been put through the ringer with me over the years, so his body's really used to this. But I have a lot of individuals that see this kind of stuff and like, oh, I want that. So like that can be good, but also it's not for everybody. So there's a level of education to those who are watching, and be like, okay, what you see may be good for a certain thing, but it might not be right for you at a certain period of time. Or if there is something going on, there could be other agents or other techniques that are going to be more beneficial to you. So I think having someone to explain to you, okay, this is going to be good for your body right now, and taking that with a grain of salt to understand that, because you don't want to go in with something aggressive like this in the beginning, and that could actually make your symptoms worse. So that's why I was saying too, you really want to find someone that has experience in utilizing these treatment methods, truly understands why they're doing it and the intention behind it. And also too, it's like, okay, yes, it's discomforting, but it shouldn't be super painful where the patient is or the client is jumping off the table. Or if you do see a significant amount of like redness or bruising, like he has a little bit, but if you see dark discoloration and where it's just completely red and raw, like, and you come out of it, so wow, look at my battle scars from that workout, like that's great. You can actually do more harm than good. So just keep that in the back of your mind when you are interested, or you are thinking about pursuing something like this for yourself. That's something that's just helps you to have a little bit more knowledge when you're going into that, so that you're more educated to be like, okay, now I know how my body should feel, or what is supposed to happen, versus coming out of something and be like, holy crap, like that's not for me at all. See, it moves a lot better, more pliable, same as the other side. Before, it like every time it pushes, it was just like a little bit. Now it's like really loosens things up. Spine feels better and like obviously too, I work the whole spine, because everything's interconnected. So if the upper back is not moving as efficiently, people can have more discomfort in their lower back, because your upper back's supposed to be mobile, like so movement. It helps with reaching overhead, but if you can't get movement through your upper back to help you with that, people then feel it in their lower back. So like kind of trying to get under the bar, or when they're squatting, they feel a lot of like stress at their lower back, and that's because they're not getting movement through here. And then your body is going to try to find another place to get the movement, and oftentimes it would go either the area below the certain targeted area or above it. So it's looking at it as a whole and how that works in conjunction with each other. So again, just kind of doing some active release as we're actively moving back into external rotation, as I just kind of loosen up the tissues. with the pec. So obviously the pec, you have the pec major and the minor, and basically you can internally rotate the shoulder, so restrict his overhead mobility. So just kind of loosen up the tissue to elongate it as you stretch into the ranges that maybe are, lacking. That's something that he found to be, of importance.
I know my body very well. I mean, there's a certain point in my prep when I know the strength does go down, when calories do come down. At the same time, as much as I want to push the heavy weight, I realize that the risk reward there's a lot more risk than reward at that point in time. But again, I still have to train as hard and heavy as I possibly can.
Right.
But at the same time, I gotta be smart about it, because again, longevity is the key, and I gotta make it to the show. But again, it just, because I'm so in tune with my body, I know kind of when is that time. Okay, hey, even though I want to push these 170s, I think I'm gonna stick with the 140s today, just to be safe about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, again, when your body is in a deficit, it's not at its best, optimal best. You're not as strong as you think you are or usually are. You just gotta be smart about it. I mean, again, I've been doing it 16 years, so I have that connection in my body, in my mind. I know exactly what's going on. That's just advice to young guys. Just listen to your body first and foremost. That's the only way you're gonna progress, to get better, and stay injury free and make it, in the sport.
Yeah. No, I think that's really well spoken, and I think those who are watching, for younger individuals coming up through the sport, that's really valuable information. And I think too, for me, is like I constantly ask Shaun about his plan, whether it's his fitness regimen from John, or if there's any nutritional standpoint from Matt, to understand too what his other coaches are helping him with, because I think that understanding where other people are coming from, and it's like almost like a team approach, like understanding what the other coaches are doing, and that what you're doing for your client to help him be successful. It's all putting those together and working as a team to help him succeed. So that's why I had him to showcase and touch about those certain things, because there's certain times where he tells me, we changed my dietary needs, so I'm experiencing this or whatever, and from a physiological standpoint of what I'm feeling, like, okay, I could feel why his muscles are a little bit more tighter in nature, because he's a little bit more fatigued if there is a caloric deficit. But again, it's like he knows his body well, but also too, it's addressing these things. So when he is in stages that challenging him based on those caloric deficits or whatever it may be, or training effect, we're still loosening things up from my end physiologically to say, okay, the tissue is flexible and moving the way it should be, and the joints are moving the way they should be, so that he's set up with, given every scenario, he's safe, and mitigate any risk for injury, because the name of the game, like we said, is longevity. So thanks, Shaun, for showcasing that and letting us know about those experiences.
All right, guys, and that is a wrap. Hope you guys liked this video. Again, just kind of want to reiterate, we all do the heavy training, the dieting, the cardio, but I can't stress enough the importance of self-care, taking care of your body. You have one body, you got to show it some love. We're constantly training hard and heavy, beating that muscle up. It needs time to recover. It needs to repair in order to enable you to continue to train hard and heavy like you do. But the most important thing for you and for myself especially is longevity. Pete, what do you think?
I couldn't agree more. Like we said, you got one body. Let's take care of it. It's an investment, for you to keep on training the way you want, performing the way you want, and just kind of continue being the athlete that you want. These are the little things, but they have a huge weight for your overall success with whatever you're doing. So, if you're interested in doing this stuff, reach out to me. Shaun has my contact information, or, we'll just go from there. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned. There's a lot more going on. So,
like Pete said, a lot more content coming your way, guys. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. Until next time, we'll see you guys soon.
How long you think it was gonna take before we got here? Now you gotta prove yourself all over again. Come on.
Ain't nobody coming, I've been gunning from 100 yards, trying to hit my mark, missing every time. This'll be the start of the picture perfect. Watch it when she working with no hands. I got plans, stack 100 bands. People in the